Forced to Fight is an interactive online resource for teachers and students between the ages of 13 to 18. The resource helps facilitate understanding of international humanitarian law and humanitarian issues. It allows the user to experience what it is like for young people living in situations of armed conflict around the world.
So international humanitarian law is a body of international law that seeks to limit the effects of armed conflicts in two particular ways. The first way is by protecting persons who are not or no longer participating in hostilities and armed conflict, and the second way is by actually regulating the hostilities themselves.
What is important about disseminating education IHL is very profound, because as a veteran peacekeeper and as a practicing humanitarian, I see human suffering as a result of breaches to IHL. Breaches are avoidable and they are preventable. We've got to do a better job. And so what better way than to invest in the upcoming generation?
Responsable de cette, on fait partie de la solution. D'une certaine manière, probablement, on fait partie du problème aussi, mais ils sont eux, surtout les jeunes, qui font partie de la solution. Parce que c'est eux qui vont pouvoir demander, c'est eux qui vont pouvoir, militaires à la limite, être actifs par rapport à ces conflits et au respect des droits humanitaires internationaux.
So the new online resource, Forced to Fight, exposes students to 3 scenarios that helps them explore specific issues as they relate to international humanitarian law. Those would be sexual and gender-based violence, child soldiers, as well as refugees and forced migration. So the students have the opportunity when they play through their scenario to choose which character they're going to experience one of the 3 issues with. And from there, we like to say in exploring humanitarian law that there's no easy answers.
So I think this could be a very valuable tool to use within a unit, looking at and helping students to experience the idea of what children go through in armed conflict areas. So looking at this resource, I like the idea that there is choice. So there's choice, there's decision making when we're trying to promote critical thinking.
A lot of us wouldn't know maybe about all of these conflicts around the world, especially regarding children and genocides and wars and all that. And your game was just another way to broaden everyone's views on the world and different aspects of people's lives, and that how fortunate we are to live in Canada.
And I think your game is a great example of that, and like allowing kids to realize what choices, that their choices are, how different they are from the kids around the world.
Thanks to the contribution and financial support of the Government of Canada, we now have this resource available to teachers and students online at forcedtofight.ca.
Hi, I'm Roberta. I'm here today to talk to you about Forced to Flee, which is an in-person simulation activity on decision-making during conflict and migration. This is produced by Canadian Food Brands Bank. The objective of the activity is to really generate a discussion about the experience that refugees and migrants may face, as well as to highlight the connection between food insecurity and conflict and migration. So the experience happens when a large group of people are divided into small family groups of 3 to 5 people each. The family groups learn that there is a conflict in their home community, and they must decide whether to stay or to leave. During the activity, they encounter different scenarios, each which has 3 proposed actions, and the family groups need to decide for themselves which they think is appropriate for their family. Each family group starts with different resources, 5 money, 5 food, and 5 health cards, but the different options have costs associated with them. So families will have to give up some of their cards as they go through the activity. In some cases, they may also gain resources. So their goal is to make sure that they end the activity with enough resources in order to feel like they are in best position for the future. When setting up, facilitators will want to know that there are 4 locations in the simulation activity. This can all be done in one classroom. These locations just refer to locations within the activity itself. Each location includes a card with a description of the location, the scenario, a card presenting the 3 possible courses of action, and 3 outcome cards. So when a family has decided which outcome they'd like to choose, they come and see the facilitator, and the facilitator will give them one of those 3 cards, depending on which one the family has chosen. This activity has been done with groups as young as grades 5 and 6, though it is designed for more upper middle school to high school age group, but it's also been done with adults, including seniors. The amount of time it takes depends a bit on how long the groups take to discuss, but we recommend 60 to 90 minutes for a group of about 30, and this will allow enough time to debrief, which is really important in this activity. One person can facilitate the activity for a group of 30, though we have found that 2 to 4 facilitators is best and easiest. And it can be done with a much larger group, but keep in mind that you will need extra support in terms of cards as well as facilitators. And it's so important to note that this activity could be triggering for some people, so we encourage facilitators to mention that at the beginning and let people know that they can sit out if needed. Once you're familiar with the activity, we encourage you to get creative. You can modify the number of resources given to each family. You can have facilitators speak different languages to the group so that they don't necessarily understand the instructions. You can set stations up in different rooms and add props and costumes. You can allow families to barter with or bribe facilitators or other families in order to gain more resources. And there's many other ideas, some which we can share with you because other people have shared them with us. So Force to Fleet is a free download from the Canadian Food Grains Bank website. It is available in English and French. And feel free to contact me. My name is Roberta, and you can reach me at youth@foodgrainsbank.ca. Feel free to contact me for ideas for further support if you want to learn how to facilitate the activity. And as well, I should let you know that even though this is an in-person activity, we are working on an online format so that we can facilitate it virtually. Thank you so much.
Today we'll be playing this cool new game called the Vaccinated Quest. So it's actually created by One to explain how Gavi, the Global Vaccine Alliance, delivers vaccines to the most remote regions in the world. So let's get started. All right, and delivering them is not always easy. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, I'm ready for anything. Let's go. I'm gonna choose my avatar here, and I'm gonna get ready for my first mission. Yeah, I've been here before. Let's get the keys and let's start delivering these vaccines. All right, starting out in the city, and let's go. So far, so good. Okay, some construction on the road there. Traffic just going opposite directions. Yeah, this makes sense. Oh. Looks like we're getting to a bit more rugged road area. Oh, something's happening to the car. Oh no, engine trouble. Yeah, but we're delivering vaccines. Can't waste time. Let's see how long we can last on the road with this. And whoa! Whoa, that was close. Oh, driving off the road. And yay! We made it! Let's see. Quest journal. How do we do? 70 seconds. Not bad. So it looks like after completing level 1, Gavi has now improved my solar-powered cool boxes, so vaccines can now stay cool for longer. And they also upgraded my phone so I can stay connected. And okay, good to know that the car won't break down as easily. All right, so that was level 1 of the game, and looks like my skill level here is a legend. So hope you guys are gonna play this game, and let's see if you guys can beat my score.
As young leaders, we are resilient, we are flexible, we are adaptable, grassroots, and we're creative. You know, we take up space to really amplify our peers and really including the most marginalized voices as well. We demand change. Young leaders are young people in their diversity. We can be bold, we can be quiet, we can be whatever. And I think often there's a stereotype of what a young leader is, and we really need to go beyond that. You know, young leaders also are contextual, as you said, and they're fluid. It varies between regions. I work with young leaders as young as 15 to as old as 35 and plus, and we really have to define how they respect themselves, how they identify themselves. And I recently read a statistic that there are 1.2 billion youth around the world from 15 to 24. That's almost like 16% of our world. And that's a lot of youth power. That's a lot of young leaders. So all in all, to me, being a young leader is being bold and being brave. And thank you.
Listen to young people and listen to women.
There isn't a set definition for what youth is defined as internationally or in Canada. I tried to do a bit of research in the context of Canada, and you know, Statistics Canada uses something like ages 16 to 28, and then the Human Resources and Skills Development Canada use something like ages 15 to 24. And then I looked back on the eligibility criteria for the role that I have the privilege of being Canada's youth delegate to the World Health Assembly. The criteria is ages 18 to 30. And so I think, you know, I think there are these arbitrary numbers to try to define something that we try to capture as someone who's kind of early in their trajectory of life and their career path and their professional and personal development. But then that's also in the context of, I think, what we think about is a full, fulfilled life.
I think far too often, one of my young leaders colleagues, he said, we don't have to wait for the government to lead us. We could do that ourselves. And so he started a program in India called Feeding India, where he collects food from restaurants that would be thrown away, and long story short, gives it to people who live in poverty. And that was his way of not leading initiative without not waiting for everyone else to do it. He just took lead in doing that. And I think that's something that a lot of grassroots movements and organizations are doing, that they are already doing the work. They just need us to go stand beside them, to uplift the work that they already have been doing.
So I think youth engagement at times can be seen as a buzzword, but it's so much more than just having a youth at the decision-making table. It's making sure that youth are not only present at the decision-making table, but that they have a voice, and that voice is actively listened to and acted upon. So youth consultations are becoming popular nowadays, but what happens at times is after the consultation is over, sometimes youth aren't continuously engaged. And that can lead to frustration because you wonder if the concerns or the ideas that you express were put into that policy or action plan or whatever it might be. So for me, when we talk about youth engagement for global action, it's engaging youth at every step of the process, from the planning to the implementation stage to the follow-up stage, and making sure that the youth are equal partners and that they're made to feel like they belong.
I would say my call to action for the everyday person is just to work on understanding your social location as an individual, to understand your access to power, and when you have the opportunity to speak up and advocate for other people, no matter what setting it is, to do that, because it makes all of the difference in the world.
I would say that I've been feeling overwhelmed in many regards because there is so much that is going on and things are changing from a day-to-day basis.
You also feel like you're really worthless sometimes because you want to do more for others and also for yourself.
For me, I would say anxious, just the feeling of not knowing what's going to happen.
I don't think anyone really expected that a virus could start in a small town in a country far away and kind of take over the entire world, and it would control where we're able to go, people that we're able to interact with, and even result in thousands of deaths.
Closeness is such a basic human need, and to not have that, it really makes life different in a very dramatic way.
As an Iranian immigrant, seeing my family in Iran struggle to get basic health care and being so afraid to go out of their houses has definitely impacted me, and realized that I'm in such a safe place here, and I worry for those who don't have the same healthcare system in other countries.
This situation has given me greater confidence or more optimism in our power and dedication as youth to address problems and come up with solutions. Recently, I've heard stories of university students volunteering their time and energy to providing educational support to younger students. Some have even taken their passion for design and 3D printing, helping construct cheap and efficient alternatives to modern-day ventilators.
It seems like it's a very important thing to have collective action towards protecting the vulnerable population.
COVID-19 has really just highlighted how resilient humans are.
I thought that we'd be further apart, but over the past few months, we've kind of become closer together.
I firmly believe that despite our different circumstances, we are all in this together. And to children in the refugee camps, you are important and you're not forgotten.
I hope after COVID-19, everyone realizes that while they are going through their own battles, other people may be going through worse battles, and doing your part to help them in any way you can is important.